Hello world, welcome, 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 or welcome back. I am Goddess Dawn. It is Sunday, March 10th, and I'm here today to talk to you about Christopher Wallace, aka Notorious B.I.G, Biggie Smalls, or just plain Big or Biggie. The anniversary of his death was just yesterday, March 9th. I'm here today to give some insight via tarot and spiritual intuition on Christopher Wallace. The world famous rapper came onto the scene with his breakthrough debut Ready to Die, followed up by his sophomore and unfortunately final album Life After Death. There's been much conspiracy following his death about who actually killed him and who was behind it. It has been automatically assumed that it was a hit. Biggie was and still is one of my top rappers. I'd say top 3 at this point, even still today. When he passed, he was at the top of his game with regard to his music industry success. He was popping and in high demand. With that, also came behind the scenes drama and problems. There was jealousy, greed, backstabbing, fear. The energy was rife with death and despair. Something had taken over. The gears had shifted, allowing the new regime to garner more power. Certain artists bringing people together to absorb the energy of the mass. These artists are cold, uncaring, driven by fame, even more so than money. Few are driven by their platform and keeping the integrity of their messages, but those few are the minority. On some level, they're also on the payroll. Big, as he prefers, wanted to be independent more than anything. He saw the big picture. He had artists and groups in the chamber that he wanted to launch and had to wait till the right time. But rats in his camp snitched on the plan. That man set me up to be killed, is what I heard him say. That man set me up to be killed. But he was pressured to move, is what I'm hearing. He did it out of fear of his own life, loss of life and power. There were threats. He could never be Biggie as much as he wanted to be. You know, his death hit me really hard because my husband had been killed just 2 months before, and in a very similar fashion. I was still grieving, and Tupac had died just not even a year before. Hip-hop had shifted, and it hasn't stopped. Independence is the only way. Biggie was a maverick. He wasn't built to be under someone else's helm. Affiliations and collaborations would still have been possible, but ownership was his goal. He would have had his ups and downs, but it would have ultimately been very successful. He would have remarried, I see, with a few more kids, maybe 2 more. He had a lot more to do. He had things to prove to his mom. I'm seeing his mom. He had kids to spoil, women to love, and he was robbed. He was robbed of that. So we're here today to see if he has anything to say. I never know what's going to happen in these readings. So let's see what the cards have to say about Christopher Wallace. What does Christopher, or Biggie, sorry, Big. What does Big have to say today? Let's, I'm gonna shuffle just. So we're with Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G, Christopher Wallace, and we're gonna let the cards determine what is gonna happen tonight. He was killed senselessly in the streets in Los Angeles, California, which is such a painful, embarrassing thing to know about my hometown. Like, this is a violent city. I won't say it isn't, but you know, from what I understand, he shouldn't have been here, and he knew he shouldn't have been here, and there were people who were in charge of certain things who insisted that he be here. There's a couple cards popping up. Let's see what those are. I've ignored a few, but okay, so the first three cards that came up for Christopher Wallace, aka Notorious B.I.G, or Big as I like to call him. Let's see. So we got the King of Swords, and that represents success. I mean, somebody who cuts their way through all the BS and is able to get to, you know, a place of success and triumph. Someone who is a fighter, someone who doesn't need anyone in order to make moves. He's a soldier, but independent also on his own, like a rogue maverick, I would say. The next card that came up was Three of Pentacles. This card represents success in business also. Someone who is able to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And then we have the Seven of Staves. And this card actually represents dealing with difficult people, unsupportive people, people who are on your team. And that goes along with what came up in the meditation, which was the backstabbing. Let's see, we have the unsupportive people, the backstabbers, success, and independence, fighting for what's rightfully yours. So this represents Christopher Wallace. And let's see what more detail we can get, or what else needs to be said. Establishing who that we're talking to. So we'll examine the backstabbing. A couple more cards. Okay. So Christopher Wallace, he was on Earth from May 21st, 1972 to March 9th, 1997. We'll start over here with the King of Swords, who I described. We got a couple cards. Four of Staves. This card represents stability, home life. Typically can represent marriage. I mentioned that he would have remarried and had more children, so this card represents that. Also came up as the Two of Swords. This card represents having to make a decision between two people or two situations. Typically, it also represents a truce. You know, something that was going on that you just decided, you know what, let's just say we're going to agree to disagree, but then the issues would still be at the forefront, something you can't just ignore. So we have right here somebody who has things to weigh out and make decisions about. Okay, but what I'm getting from this card on top of the marriage is a home life balance, like home versus work, music. He was somebody who at some point he wasn't going to be out doing that stuff that he was doing, which is clubbing and that type of stuff. More so somebody who has everything that he needs at his pad. You know what I'm saying? The music business, he would have been the boss, and he would have been remotely working and doing things from the house. Everything was going to be at the house, and he would have been deciding between that and work. So in order to resolve that issue, He would just move the headquarters to the house. So that's what I'm getting from that. And then we had the Seven of Pentacles come up also. And Pentacles typically have success attached. So this card represents a reward on its way, you know, being rewarded for your work, or something that you were expecting actually coming through. So definitely confirming that these things that he wanted, the home life, the family, and the independence, all of this coming to fruition would have given him all of the things that he wanted in life. Then we have more success here with the Three of Pentacles, and we did have some other cards. So we're going to go with the King of Cups. This card represents somebody living their ideal, somebody who's living out their actual true passion. Definitely represents him with regard to his music. The next card came up was the Oppression card. This is somebody who's looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, like hard times, but you know, really just struggling right here. This is basically a struggle card. And then we have the Ace of Swords, and this is the New Beginning card. This is the card that says all of those struggles that had come to light were overcome. There's success on hand. Okay. So then we have the backstabbers, the unsupportive people, people who didn't have your best interests at heart, with the Seven of Staves. Following that came the Six of Staves. But then we have the Victory card on top of this. So this says to me that, you know, he would have overcome all of that backstabbing and all of that stuff. Then we have the Three of Staves. This is getting those goals accomplished and making things happen and making sure that you're about that action. That's what this card represents. And then we have the Five of Staves. And this is just representing petty conflict for the sake of just that, losing sight of what's important. So this represents the fact that he seems to have lost sight of the important things because of the disagreements. He lost sight of what was important. So it was just BS conflict, and he knew that. He wasn't really even fazed about the little things that were going on behind the scenes, because he saw the bigger picture of things. So is there anything you want us to know? I think we know this is you. So the cards that were just pulled, all just looking at them, all represent exactly this spread here, which is success and basically making your dreams come true. So we have making your dreams come true, and then knowing that, you know, you have to keep going, not wanting to stay complacent, not wanting to stay in that dream world, fighting for yourself. And this is planning things on the inside, not necessarily telling everything that is going on in your mind, but making plans and goals internally. We have a lot of energy, a lot of buzz. You know, he was popping when he was at the height of his career at the time of his passing. And, you know, he was around people who were just not good. There was a bad energy, a bad aura around the time of his death. The people he was around, all of that was bad. Then there were the people in his life, the loves of his life that he ended up leaving behind. And so the card, the love card comes up, and then we have the woman, the female energy. And this is somebody who, you know, just is very strong, and somebody who is able to make things actually turn into something from nothing. And this card, I believe, represents his mother. And then we have his children. They came up, and a new start that for everybody, including him. This is not going to be his only journey here on earth. And that card does represent new beginnings for everybody. And then at the end of the day, we have King of Pentacles. And this card, you know, represents success. Real estate is big for this card too. But this card does represent coming after new beginnings, and the kids and his mom and all of that. Says like an estate is what this, I think, represents. So, and for those of you who question the fact that I say maybe and I think, is because I'm listening to spirit as I'm reading the cards as well, and interpreting the cards as I know them to be. So this is not something where I'm just seeing instant results of the situation here. That's just not how it works with me. So if you don't like the way that I read, my bad. There's so many other people out there who are amazing. So feel free to move on without commenting the negativity. So let's see if there's anything else we have to say. So what I'm getting at this point is that he is very regretful of how he left this earth. He was on a roll. He had everything going. He knew what he wanted. And then he had the wrong people in his life is the bottom line. The Queen of Swords has come up again. So the Queen of Swords will typically represent an older woman. Somebody who can cut through all the nonsense and make sure, you know, things are handled. I think, again, his mother is coming up. I believe he really, really wants his mother to know that he loves her. And I mean, she just seems to be the center of his communication today. Actually, what's coming through on the Queen of Swords, this card actually represents Lil' Kim. This card represents someone who's actually a problem female who, you know, they're kind of a boss person, bossy and all of that, and they're drama. So, and a strong figure in his life aside from his mother. So this card, I believe, represents Lil' Kim. So let's see what he has to say after this. What else is going to come through? We got the Fortune card. This card represents wealth and prosperity and success, and you know, and she's her name is still out there. She's relevant. I mean, she is an icon in the game. We know that. So that's what this card represents. See if anything else, if there anything else with these cards. Okay, so what I'm getting also is that Faith Evans is coming through also. So this card now is representing more than one person. I think he's just telling me the different women that were important to him while he was on earth. So we got his mom, Lil' Kim, we got Faith. I'm sure there were plenty others. I hear laughter. because there are a lot of others that nobody knows about, or that we may know about, but you know, aren't necessarily going to bring up by name because maybe they weren't that relative. But so I don't know, he just really had come through to say that, you know, he had a lot of more potential here on earth, and there were a lot of people that he left behind, his children, his mother, the loves of his life, and that it was cut short and he was robbed. And I think we already knew all of this. I think through the meditation he did come through to tell us that, just to reiterate, that he feels that, you know, the industry is not what it was. We all know that as well. The way to go at this point is independence, and this was something he was striving for back in '97 or before, so it's not something new, but just something that he's putting his stamp on and saying that, you know, this is only way to go. You shouldn't allow other people to dictate what you're going to do and what your life is about. So I have another deck of cards. I'm going to see what that deck has to say. My goddess cards are typically pretty positive. Okay, so we're still here connecting with Christopher Wallace. Seeing if there's anything he wants us to know. Shuffle these cards. All right. So, Christopher Wallace, what do you want us to know? We got the world watching. All right, so let's see. Four of Wands, the world, and death. Okay, so with these cards that came up, we have the Four of Wands. Oh shit, that's actually the Six of Wands. I read that backward. So we have the Six of Wands. This actually means success and victory. So I think this just represents the fact that he was on top of his game, and he was able to get to a place of success in his industry, which was the music industry. We have the World card, and this card represents completion and wholeness, and it can also mean a world of possibilities. And this card, I believe, coming after victory, and this is just saying that he accomplished what he strived to do. He wasn't finished what he was doing, but he did make a milestone as far as making an impact on the world and making a name for himself. And then we have the Death card. Card represents completion and satisfaction. So I feel that this card just says that he was satisfied with what he had accomplished because he feels that he was successful in his journey here. So at the age of 24 years old, you know, he left the earth, but he accomplished so much. And I feel that, you know, he's basically saying here that he feels that with the short life that he did live, I mean, he didn't even hit the scene until really 1994, and then passing in 97, in the early part of 97 at that, you know, just says that's a really short time span. And, you know, I feel that with the impact that he has had, with his name still ringing bells today, is something that he feels accomplished with. And these cards represent that. So let's see if there's anything else we're going to get here. Is there anything else you want us to know? Okay. All right, I pulled a few more cards. Let's see what we got here. So victory, and then we have the Ten of Swords on top of the victory card. So this card actually represents rock bottom. So I think he's saying that he came from nothing and he was able to, you know, achieve everything that he strived to achieve as far as on the level of music. So this card represents rock bottom. And this card, the Three of Wands, this card just represents striking out on your own. You know, maybe you've gotten a lot of help or support from people in the past, but you knew that being independent and on your own is the way that you wanted to roll. So this is what this card represents. And we got that from the other spread. So on top of the World card, we got the Empress. You know, this card, this I'm going to say represents his mother. This card, she continues to come through. And then we have the Judgment card on top of that. So I think this is him feeling that, you know, like I had said in the meditation, that he had something to prove to her. And I think with the success that he had coming from having nothing to what he did accomplish, he feels that he did at least give her a sense of accomplishment as far as that goes with his music success. Not so much in his personal life, but he's expressing that he feels that he at least gave her something, you know. So on top of the Death card, we have the Daughter of Swords, the Mother of Swords, and then the and the Eight of Wands. So I think these represent people. I'm probably going to just say his daughter, and then maybe another figure in his life, such as a Faith, someone who's a mother to his kids, or maybe even the daughter's mother. I think this represents his daughter. This card represents someone who, you know, a young female energy who is perceptive and somebody who has their eye on things, and they are somebody who doesn't really let things get too much by them. I'm going to say that's his daughter. From what I understand, you know, like his daughter, I don't even think she has a relationship with Diddy. I know there was some blog gossip that there was some tension when he had done that tour with all of his artists a couple years ago. Then we have the Mother of Swords, and this card represents somebody who has gone through a lot, somebody widowed. I think this card represents Faith Evans. And this card represents courage and inner strength. And I think he's just saying that these people, the daughter and Faith, were able to, after his death, remain strong and continue to, you know, forge through and forge ahead and make things happen for themselves. I understand his daughter has her own business. I think she's in fashion. And we know Faith, she's always still name in the news. I think probably most recently not something that is too great with marrying Stevie J from Love and Hip Hop. However, you know, she is still in the news as somebody who's still in the business and still doing her thing. So, you know, he's just representing the strength that they have come to the table with. Well, let's see if there's anything else. So I don't know what people want to know. I mean, we kind of already know what happened with his death. I think we know he was set up. He even said he was set up in the reading, and that I think we know who had their hand in it. I'm not going to say any names. All of this, I don't know if I've said it yet, but all of this is for entertainment purposes only and alleged. So we're going to put that out there. And I don't know what else we need to know. Maybe about us and our future. Nine of Pentacles. All right. So a couple more cards came up, and we got the Nine of Pentacles. And this card represents happy home, you know, just a good life, good family life, success in that area. We also got the Daughter of Cups, and this is a young lady energy who is creative and, you know, someone who is not going to just, you know, lay down and let people do things for her. She's somebody who's independent. I think this represents his daughter. And then we have the Two of Swords, and this card came up, I'm sorry, the Two of Wands. This card represents determination, direction, focus, somebody who, you know, has goals and sets out to accomplish those goals. So that, again, I believe represents his daughter. I think he's talking to his daughter. And then we have the Lovers card. Okay, so the Lovers card is kind of self-explanatory. Lovers, a couple who, you know, do things together, travel. You know, this represents a love match here. And I don't know if his daughter is in a relationship or married, but this card does represent that. So it looks like he's blessing that union or acknowledging a union with his daughter. But let's see if there's anything else. Is there anything you want us to know? So if anyone knows his daughter, hit her up and let her know that her dad wants to talk to her about these things. And we have the Ace of Swords, and this also represents new beginnings, you know, starting something new, a venture, or again, a relationship. So maybe it's a new relationship. Let's see what else comes up. Okay, so we got the Six of Wands, and this card is a victory card or success. So I think that he's really giving his blessing on this union. So I don't know if she's in the relationship now, if this is something that's gonna happen, but he wants her to know that he is blessing her union. All right, well, I think that's really sweet. Let's see if there's anything else. Is there anything else? I know he has a son. So we have some final cards we pulled. Mercury is definitely in retrograde. I just want to say that. Okay, y'all. So I've been working on this for a few days now, and I just discovered some video is missing a big chunk. I'm so sorry. So some good things came through. Betrayal. Someone came through who basically betrayed him, and I'm going to try to go through the cards based on just watching the video and maybe put out a video just for the cards that were missing. But I just wanted to explain the gap. I am so sorry. Ugh, so annoying. So we have the Sun, and then we have focus and determination here. Then we have sudden movement or change. And then secrecy or secrets being kept. And this card, this represents bliss and harmony. And then this card represents fulfillment and abundance. And then finally we have the Five of Pentacles here. And this is sadness, illness, worry. Lots and lots of worry. Very counterproductive and damaging, this card. very difficult times. So what these cards say to me, someone who had everything going for him, and then something happened, secrets were kept, but yet the abundance was still there, the success was still there. But then the final card is illness, sadness, worry. So this to me represents, we were talking about the last part of this spread after the mom came through with betrayal, and then we have the end of this is, even though at the end of the day everything is great with success and everything else, there's still illness, sadness, worry, sleepless nights. You know, this is a really counterproductive and damaging card right here. So I think the message is that no matter at the end of the day how much success and what everything looks like on the outside, on the inside and behind closed doors, behind the curtain, shall I say, things aren't so great. So illness, sadness, worry, and that was the final card. I'm going to see if there's anything else that we want to say here. A final, just overall message, anything? Daughter of Pentacles. All right. So the final messages that came up, we have the Daughter of Pentacles, and this represents someone, you know, focused. I think this comes through as his daughter. It also represents, you know, a rainbow at the end of the storm. You know, it's a positive card. Just keep your head up. And then we have the Four of Swords come through next. And this card, the Four of Swords, this represents, you know, going inward, a focus, determination, having a quiet mind is what this card represents. And then the Justice card came through. This is karma. This is saying that, you know, no matter what happens at the end of the day, what goes around comes around. And I think this card is basically saying not to worry, because at the end of the day, people are going to get their just due. And then finally we have the Six of Pentacles, which represents prosperity, growth. You know, the fruits are going to harvest. This is a very positive card. It's basically saying all of your hard work is going to pay off. I think that the message here is that just stay focused on your goals, and you know, don't worry, just keep doing what you're doing and let karma take care of everything else, and their success and very positive outcome here. Generosity, fruits going into labor. So we had a lot come through tonight, and I think what he wants at the end of the day is for his daughter and his family to know that, you know, he did his best, and he feels that he did do a lot with regard to his conquering goals and coming through on the music industry. And the people or person behind his death will or have get justice. justice will be served in the karmic way with regard to karma. And it could take time, you know, these things do take time sometimes, but it does work out in the end. So I think that's the message here, the final message. It's really sad that his life was cut short when he has so much to offer. He could definitely have made a big impact on hip-hop had he still been alive. I see him as being somewhat like a masterpiece, someone who was independent, successful, maybe on a bigger scale, a louder scale, more prominent and more successful, but still in that lane of independence and respect, kind of like a Jay Prince, even a Diddy himself. He's like, no, but meaning somebody known for building their own way and creating their own path and having their own empire. He definitely would have ruled a big empire of his own. So yeah, it's unfortunate that he was cut short. But you know, he's content with what happened with in his life, and yeah, he's like, don't worry about me. Everything is good. You know, I did a lot more than most, and don't feel sorry for me. You know, he's not happy about the fact that he got cut down short. He feels he was robbed, but he does feel content in the things that he was able to accomplish. So shout out to his family. He has a big heart and cares a lot about his family. And yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. As always, thank you to the Most High, ancestors, and angels for allowing me to connect tonight. Also to Christopher Wallace, the spit in spirit, still alive and strong. And to you for coming by to check me out. And yeah, this was an important reading for me. I'm a huge Biggie Smalls fan. And yeah. So we're going to end it here. Till next time. Peace.